My wife texted, "I don't have to tell you where I am." Little did she know, I was at the table behind her. I texted, "Turn around." What happened next? Priceless. Let me back up. Tuesday night, 7:47 p.m. I'm supposed to be in Baltimore for a network migration. The hotel lost my reservation, so I drove home instead. Lena doesn't know. I texted her around 6. "How's your night?" She sent back a photo of takeout containers on our kitchen counter. "Boring. Miss you." Except our kitchen counter is granite with white subway tile backsplash. The photo showed laminate and beige, not our house. I sat in my car for 20 minutes, staring at that photo. My hands didn't shake. My heart didn't race. I just felt this weird cold clarity, like someone had turned the saturation down on the world. I opened Find My iPhone. We'd set it up years ago, one of those just-in-case things married people do. I'd forgotten about it. She clearly had too. Russo's Bistro, 8 miles away. I drove there in silence. No music, no planning, just driving. The restaurant sat in one of those outdoor mall developments. Brick pavers, string lights, people taking photos of their pasta. Through the window, I spotted her immediately. Corner booth, her back to the entrance. Across from her sat a guy I didn't recognize. Tall, athletic build, that specific kind of groomed that requires effort. They were laughing. I walked inside. The hostess smiled. "Just one?" "I see my party," I said, pointing vaguely toward the back. I took a table behind Lena, 2 booths over. Perfect angle. I could see her in profile, see him straight on. He hadn't noticed me. Why would he? I'm invisible. That's my superpower at the office, at parties, in life. People look right through me. I watched them for 10 minutes. Her hand kept touching his across the table. Not holding, touching. Fingers brushing his wrist, his forearm. The kind of casual intimacy that takes time to build. This wasn't new. She was wearing the blue dress I'd bought her for our anniversary. 6 months ago. That's when she texted me. I watched her type it, watched her smile down at her phone. "I don't have to tell you where I am." I stared at those words. She'd never texted me like that before. We didn't fight. We were boring, stable. I thought we were happy, but looking back I realized happy and comfortable aren't the same thing. I'd been comfortable. She'd been planning. I typed back, "Turn around." I watched her read it. Watched confusion cross her face. She turned slowly, scanning the restaurant. When her eyes found mine, everything stopped. The ambient noise, the movement, the whole world just froze for one perfect second. Her face went through 5 expressions in 2 seconds. Confusion, recognition, shock, calculation, then something I'd never seen before. Pure fear. The guy across from her was still talking, oblivious. I stood up, left cash on my table, and walked over. Not fast, not slow, just walking. Lena's eyes never left mine. "Dan," she said, her voice barely worked. The guy looked up at me. "Can I help you?" "I'm her husband." I pulled out the chair next to Lena and sat down. "Don't let me interrupt." Silence. Beautiful, suffocating silence. "Dan, I can explain. You texted me a photo of someone else's kitchen and said you were home eating takeout. But you're here, on a date, wearing the dress I bought you." I looked at the guy. "Did she tell you she was married?" His face said no. "We're separated," Lena blurted out. "I was going to tell you, we're not separated. We had coffee together this morning. You kissed me goodbye. You texted me, 'Love you' at lunch." I pulled out my phone, showed him the thread. "See? Nothing about separation." "You're insane," she hissed, but her voice shook. "I'm insane?" I laughed. It came out wrong, too loud. People were staring now. Good. I'm not the one lying to 2 people at once. The guy stood up. "Look, man, I didn't know—" "Colin," Lena said sharply. "Colin." So he had a name. "Colin," I repeated. She tell you about me at all? About our house? Our dog? Our 7-year marriage? I looked at Lena. Or did you edit that part out? Her eyes were filling with tears, but they looked calculated. Performance tears. I'd seen her do it before, with her mother, with salespeople, with anyone she needed something from. But never with me. I'd never been worth manipulating before. You're making a scene, she whispered. No, I said quietly. I'm just sitting here. You made the scene when you decided to lie. I'm just watching it play out. Colin grabbed his jacket. I'm gonna go. Smart, I said. He hesitated, looking at Lena like he expected her to say something. She just stared at her wine glass. After a moment, Colin walked out. The door chimed behind him. Now it was just us. Dan, please. How long? What? How long have you been sleeping with him? She flinched. I haven't. Lena. I kept my voice flat. How long? Her jaw tightened. Something shifted in her expression, from scared to defensive. 4 months. 4 months. A third of a year. All those late work dinners, all those gym sessions, all those times she'd come home smelling like different soap and said she'd showered at the office gym. You love him? She looked away. Didn't answer. That was answer enough. Okay. I stood up. Thanks for dinner. Where are you going? Home, our home, where you told me you were. I started walking toward the door. Dan, wait. I turned back. She was standing now, mascara starting to run. Are we? She couldn't finish the question. I don't know yet, I said. But I'll tell you what I do know. You don't get to text me, I don't have to tell you where I am anymore. From now on, I'll know exactly where you are. And if I were you, I'd start being very, very careful about what you do next. I walked out, got in my car, drove home. My hands didn't shake until I was in our driveway. Then they shook so hard I couldn't get the key in the door. I sat on our porch steps in the dark, breathing, waiting for my body to catch up with my brain. After 20 minutes, my phone buzzed. Lena. I'm staying at Maya's tonight. We need to talk tomorrow. Maya. Her co-worker. Her friend who'd covered for her dozens of times. I texted back, no rush. Then I went inside and started looking. Before we continue, hit the hype button, subscribe, and like the video to help the channel grow. Tell us which city you are from in the comments. We'd love to get to know our audience better. People are stupid about technology. They think deleting something means it's gone. It's never gone. Lena and I shared an Apple ID from when we first got married. It was easier that way. Shared photos, shared apps, shared everything. Years ago, she'd bought an iPad for recipe apps and then forgotten about it. It sat in the kitchen drawer, plugged in, syncing everything. Every text, every photo, every note. I spent 3 hours that night reading through 6 months of my wife's affair. It's amazing what people will write down when they think no one's watching. The texts with Colin were exactly what you'd expect. Lots of thinking about you and planning when they could meet. Complaints about me. I was boring, checked out, never listened. Which was funny, because I'd been listening the whole time. She just hadn't been saying anything worth hearing. But the texts with Maya were different. Those were tactical. Lena to Maya, 6 weeks ago. He suspects nothing. Honestly, I think he'd be relieved if I left. More time for his precious servers. Maya to Lena. When are you going to tell him? Lena. After I talked to the lawyer, Jen said I should document everything. All the times he's emotionally unavailable, all the nights he prioritizes work. Build a case. Maya. Smart. You deserve better. Lena. I know. Colin makes me feel alive again. Dan just makes me feel guilty for wanting more. I read that one 3 times. Dan just makes me feel guilty for wanting more. Like I was the problem for existing in her way. I kept reading. Found a note titled, Financial Inventory. A list of our assets, our accounts, her calculations on what she'd get in a divorce. She'd been planning this for months, meeting with lawyers, documenting my shortcomings, setting up her exit strategy. And I'd been sending her funny memes at lunch. Around midnight, I found something interesting. A group text between Lena, Colin, and someone named TT. Love the podcast concept. Healing from emotional abuse. The market's huge right now. You two would be perfect hosts. Colin. Think we need more story first. Right now it's just married to boring guy. Where's the narrative tension? Lena. Give me time. I'm building the documentation. He's going to look worse before this is over. I stared at that message for a long time. They were planning to monetize this. Turn me into the villain in their healing journey story. Make me the emotionally abusive husband so they could launch a brand. I laughed. Actually laughed out loud in my dark kitchen at 12:47 a.m. The sound came out bitter and wrong. She thought I was the villain? Fine, I'd show her what a villain actually looks like. I screenshotted everything, created a hidden folder, backed it up 3 ways. Then I started planning. The next morning, Lena came home around 10. I was at the kitchen table with coffee, working on my laptop like nothing had happened. We need to talk, she said. She looked exhausted but determined. Probably rehearsed her speech with Maya. Okay. I didn't look up from my screen. Dan, look at me. I closed the laptop and met her eyes. She looked prepared for tears, for yelling, for something. I gave her nothing. Last night was... I'm sorry you found out that way. But I think we both know this marriage hasn't been working for a while. Do we? You're never here. Emotionally, I mean. You're always at work, or on your computer, or... I've been working to pay for this house, for your car, for the life you wanted. That's not fair. What's not fair is telling me you're home eating leftovers while you're on a date with your boyfriend. What's not fair is planning your exit strategy for 6 months without giving me a chance to fix whatever's broken. Her jaw tightened. I didn't think you'd notice. You've been checked out for years. I noticed. I just didn't think you were the kind of person who'd lie about it. Silence hung between us. I want some time, she finally said. Space to figure out what I want. You already know what you want. You've been sleeping with him for 4 months. Dan, move in with Colin. I'm sure he'd love that. You can start your new life immediately, or stay with Maya. I don't care. But I'm not leaving this house, and I'm not making this easy for you. Something flashed across her face. Surprise, maybe. Like she'd expected me to roll over. We'll need to figure out the finances. We will, through lawyers. I'm sure you've already got one picked out. I smiled. Jen, right? Her face went pale. How did you... You tell me I never pay attention, but I hear everything, Lena. Every word, every lie, every plan. I just waited to see how far you'd go. You're being cruel. I'm being honest. There's a difference. She grabbed her purse. I'm staying at Maya's. I'll get more clothes tomorrow. Take your time. She left. The door closed with a soft click. I went back to my laptop and opened the screenshots. Then I started making calls. First to a lawyer, not hers, mine. Then to my bank. Then to my brother Greg. Greg picked up on the second ring. What's up? Lena's cheating on me. I need your help. Silence. Then, what kind of help? The kind where I come out on top. I'll be over in an hour. Greg showed up with a toolbox and a grim expression. My older brother had done time for assault when he was 23, a bar fight that went wrong. He'd straightened out since then, worked construction, kept his head down. But he understood how the world actually worked better than anyone I knew. Show me what you got, he said. I showed him everything. The texts, the photos, the financial planning, the podcast scheme. He read it all without expression. She's smart, he finally said. Building a narrative, making you the bad guy before you even know you're in a fight. I know. She documented everything, and she doesn't know you know. He looked at me. What do you want out of this? I want her to lose everything she cares about. Her reputation, her career, her story. I want everyone to know what she really is. That's not revenge. That's annihilation. Good. Greg nodded slowly. Okay. But we do this smart. Legal. No violence, no property damage, nothing that gets you arrested. Agreed? Agreed. First thing, secure your money, all of it. Second, document everything from your side. Third, he grinned. Third, we introduce ourselves to Colin. Friday afternoon, I followed Colin to the gym. Greg had found his Facebook, his work address, his routine. Colin was predictable. Parked in the same spot, worked out at the same time, protein shake afterward in his black Audi SUV. I parked next to him and waited. When he came out, I was leaning against his driver's side door. Dan. He stopped walking. Look, man, about Tuesday. Relax, I'm not here to fight. I held up my hands. I just want to talk. He hesitated, then nodded. Okay, talk. How long have you known she was married? She said you were separated, that it was just paperwork. But you knew there was a husband. Yeah. And you didn't think to verify her story? Maybe look me up? Why would I? People get divorced. It happens. I nodded. You're right. It does. I pulled out my phone, showed him a screenshot. This is from last month. Lena texting her friend Maya. Want to know what it says? He squinted at the screen. It says, Colin's so easy to manipulate. I told him Dan's abusive and he believed everything without question. I looked at him. Did she tell you I was abusive? His face went hard. Yeah, she did. And what else did she tell you? That I wouldn't let her work? That I controlled the money? That she was scared of me? Something like that. Interesting. Because I'm the one who encouraged her to take the medical sales job. I'm the one who pays for her car, her phone, her whole life. And I've never raised my hand to anyone in my life. I showed him another screenshot. This is her telling Maya that you're part of the plan. What plan, Colin? He took the phone, read the message. I watched his expression change. They're starting a podcast, I said, about healing from emotional abuse. You're the supportive new partner. I'm the monster she escaped from. It's a whole brand. They've already got a consultant. He handed the phone back. That's insane. That's Lena. She doesn't have relationships. She has storylines. Colin leaned against his car, looking sick. I didn't know, man. I swear I didn't know. I believe you. You're a mark, just like me. The difference is, I figured it out. What are you going to do? Divorce her. Take half of everything. Make sure everyone knows the truth. I straightened up. What are you going to do? I don't know. Here's my advice. Get out now, before she makes you the villain too. I started walking to my car. Behind me, Colin called out. Why are you telling me this? I turned back. Because misery loves company, and because when this all falls apart, I want you to remember that I warned you. I drove away. In my rearview mirror, Colin was still standing there, staring at his phone. Phase 1 complete. Monday morning, I got a call from my office HR. Dan, we need to talk about the email we received this weekend. My stomach dropped. What email? From your wife. She claims you've been harassing her, stalking her, and making threats. She's concerned for her safety and wanted us to be aware in case you reacted violently at work. I closed my eyes. Of course she did. None of that is true. We're getting divorced and she's trying to control the narrative. Do you have any proof? Do you need proof? Has she filed a police report, a restraining order, or did she just send you an email to poison my reputation? Silence. Then, we have to take threats seriously. I'm not threatening anyone. She's the one who's been lying and cheating for months. I found out last Tuesday. I confronted her once, calmly, in a public restaurant with witnesses. That's it. Still, we'd like you to work from home this week while we sort this out. Are you suspending me? We're giving everyone space. Right. I hung up. 10 minutes later, Maya called me. Maya, who I'd met maybe 5 times, who barely knew me. Dan, I'm just calling to say, Lena's really scared. She thinks you're going to do something. Like what? I don't know. Hurt her. Hurt yourself. She said you've been acting unstable. I laughed. Unstable? Let me guess. She told you I was following her, sending threatening messages? She showed me screenshots. Of what? Texts you sent, saying she'd regret this, that you'd make her pay. I never sent any texts like that. Check the metadata, check the phone records. She's lying. Why would she lie? Because she's building a story, Maya, just like she built her affair, just like she built her exit plan, and you're helping her. You sound paranoid. You sound like someone who believes everything they're told. How long have you been covering for her? How many times did you tell me she was working late when she was actually with Colin? Silence. Yeah, I said. That's what I thought. You're complicit in this. Remember that when it all comes out. I hung up. By Wednesday, 3 more people had called me. Mutual friends, Lena's cousin, even my mother. All with the same story. Lena was scared. Dan was acting strange. Maybe Dan needed help. She was good. I had to admit that. She'd turned me into the threat without showing a single bruise, without filing a single report. Just whispers, just implications, just enough smoke that everyone assumed fire. But she'd made a mistake. She'd overplayed it. Thursday night, Lena had her company's quarterly dinner. I knew because I'd seen the calendar invite months ago, before she'd changed her password, before she'd locked me out. Medical sales companies love these things. Fancy restaurant, awards, networking. Lena lived for them. I called the restaurant. Hi, I'm with MedTech Solutions. We're having our dinner there tomorrow. I'm handling the AV setup and wanted to confirm our equipment needs. Oh, you should talk to Karen. She's coordinating. Perfect. I showed up at 5 p.m. in khakis and a polo, carrying a laptop bag. Told the staff I was with the AV company. They barely looked at me. Set up in the back, connected my laptop to their projector system, tested everything. Then I waited. Lena arrived at 6:30 with her team. She looked beautiful. Red dress, heels, makeup perfect. Laughing with colleagues. The successful career woman. No sign of the chaos she'd been spreading about me. I watched from the bar, nursing a ginger ale. At 7:15 during the awards presentation, I opened my laptop. The screen cut to black. Then a new slide appeared. Lena Mercer, the real story. Gasps, confusion. Lena stood up, face white. Next slide, screenshots of her texts with Colin. The planning, the manipulation, the lies about me being abusive. Turn it off, someone shouted. Next slide, her texts with Maya. He suspects nothing. This is going to be so easy. Next slide, the podcast pitch. Healing from emotional abuse, a brand opportunity. Lena was screaming now, pushing through people. I closed the laptop, unplugged, and walked out the back door. By the time she reached the AV station, I was gone. My phone exploded with messages. Her boss, her co-workers, my brother. But I ignored them all and drove to a bar 3 towns over. That's where Greg found me 2 hours later. You couldn't wait? He said, sliding into the booth. She was trying to destroy me. I had to move. Now she knows you have the texts. Now she knows you'll fight back. You just lost the element of surprise. I don't need surprise anymore. I need everyone to see what she is. Greg shook his head. You're getting emotional. That's when mistakes happen. I'm not making mistakes. I'm making a point. Those aren't different things. He ordered a beer. What's next? Now we wait. She'll react, and when she does, we'll be ready. We didn't have to wait long. Friday morning, my door shook with pounding. I opened it to find Lena, mascara smeared, still in last night's dress. "You destroyed me," she screamed. "They're opening an investigation. My boss is questioning my expense reports. Do you know what you've done?" I showed people the truth. "You humiliated me in front of everyone I work with." "You mean like you tried to do to me? Telling people I was abusive, dangerous, filing complaints with my HR? That's different." "How?" "Because you deserved it." I stepped onto the porch, closing the door behind me. Neighbors were watching now. Good. I deserved it? For what? Working late? Paying the bills? Being boring? My voice stayed calm. "You cheated on me for 4 months. You lied every day. You planned to divorce me and take half of everything while launching a business calling me an abuser. But I deserved it because I wasn't exciting enough for you? You're twisting everything. I'm quoting you. Your words, Lena, from your own phone." She slapped me. Hard. My head snapped sideways. I didn't move. "Thank you," I said quietly. Her face changed as she realized what she'd done. "You just assaulted me in public, in front of witnesses." I pulled out my phone, started recording. "Do you want to hit me again? Make it really clear?" She backed away. You made me... I made you hit me? That's your defense?" "I'm leaving." "Good idea." She ran to her car, fumbled with the keys, drove off with tires screeching. I went inside and called the police to file a report. Then I called my lawyer. "We have her now," Jennifer said. My lawyer also named Jennifer, which made me smile. "Assault in front of witnesses, after she filed complaints against you for threatening behavior. It proves her pattern of manipulation." "What happens now?" "Now you file for divorce, and we make sure she doesn't get a penny more than legally required." I hung up and looked at my brother, who'd shown up halfway through the confrontation. "You baited her," Greg said. "I showed her the truth. She chose to hit me." "Same thing," he grinned. "You're learning." Colin called me Saturday morning. "We need to talk." "So talk." "Not on the phone. In person." We met at a diner off Route 50. He looked terrible, unshaven, red eyes, slumped in the booth like he hadn't slept. "She's been lying to me too," he said without preamble. "About everything. The abuse, the separation, all of it." "I know." "She told me she was falling in love with me, that we'd start over together. But last night she called me drunk, screaming about how I'd ruined her life by existing, said if I'd never met her, none of this would have happened." He laughed bitterly. "I'm the villain in her story now. Welcome to the club. I found something." He pulled out his phone, showed me a document. "She wrote this last week, a pitch deck for their podcast, she and some consultant named Tara." I read it. My hands went numb. The podcast wasn't just about healing from abuse. It was a whole plan. Book deal, speaking tour, sponsorships. And the narrative arc went like this. Lena escapes abusive first husband, finds love with Colin, but Colin turns out to be controlling too, so she escapes again. The whole thing was designed to make her a survivor twice over. "She was going to use me and throw me away," Colin said. "Just like you." "Looks like it. I want to help you." I looked at him. "Why?" "Because she doesn't get to do this. Not to me, not to you, not to anyone else." He leaned forward. "You said you wanted everyone to know the truth. Let me help make that happen." "What did you have in mind?" He told me. Monday night, 9 p.m. Colin's townhouse was dark except for one upstairs light. Greg and I sat in my car across the street. "This is stupid," Greg said. "Breaking and entering is a felony." "We're not breaking anything. Colin gave me his key. Still trespassing. He invited us. He's just not here right now." I looked at my brother. "You don't have to come." "Of course I'm coming. Someone needs to keep you from doing something truly stupid." Colin had told us he was taking Lena to dinner, one last attempt at reconciliation. He'd keep her out until at least 10:30. That gave us 90 minutes. We let ourselves in. The townhouse was generic, bachelor furniture, sports memorabilia, nothing personal, except the office. Jesus, Greg muttered. The office walls were covered with printouts, photos of Lena, notes about their conversations, a timeline of their relationship, and in the center, a corkboard with the podcast pitch, covered in red marker. You're replaceable. He's obsessive, I said. Yeah, so are you. Greg started photographing everything. Come on, we document and go. But I found something else. A locked drawer in his desk. Greg picked it in 15 seconds. Inside, a folder labeled Lena Mercer, Insurance. I opened it. Voice recordings, videos, screenshots I hadn't seen before. Colin had been documenting everything too, probably the moment he realized she was using him. One video caught my eye. Lena and Colin in his car. She was laughing, saying, "Dan's so pathetic. He actually thinks we're trying to work it out. Meanwhile, I'm taking half his 401k and his house equity. Dumbest man alive." My hands shook watching it. Dan. Greg's voice was sharp. Car outside. Headlights swept the driveway. Shit, they're early. I grabbed the folder. Back door. We made it to the kitchen when the front door opened. Voices, Lena's and Colin's, arguing. "I told you I needed time," Lena was saying. "You've had time, you've had months, I want to know where I stand." Greg and I pressed against the kitchen wall in the dark. They were in the living room, maybe 15 feet away. "You want to know where you stand? You're a placeholder, Colin. A narrative device. You were never the end game." Silence. Then Colin's voice, cold. "What does that mean?" "It means I used you, and now you're just in the way. You're unbelievable. I'm honest. You should try it." That's when Greg's phone buzzed, loud, in the silent kitchen. "Who's there?" Colin shouted. "Go!" Greg shoved me toward the back door. We burst outside. Behind us, Colin was yelling. Lena was screaming. We ran through the backyard, jumped a fence, got to my car. "Drive!" Greg yelled. I drove, heart hammering, hands slippery on the wheel. Behind us, nothing. No pursuit, no sirens. "That was so stupid," Greg said, but he was laughing. So incredibly stupid. I laughed too. Couldn't help it. Adrenaline, fear, rage, all mixing together into something manic. "But we got it," I said, holding up the folder. "We got everything." The next morning, Colin called again. "You broke into my house. You gave me a key. And you left with my files. Insurance, you called it. Smart." Silence. Then, "What are you going to do with it?" "Use it, along with everything else. I'm done playing defense." "When?" "Soon. Real soon." "Tell me when. I want to be there." "Why?" "Because I want to see her face when she realizes she's lost everything." "You might get your wish." I hung up and looked at the folder content spread across my kitchen table. Hours of recordings, months of lies, the whole architecture of her manipulation, documented and ready. My phone buzzed. "Lena, we need to talk about the house." I typed back, "The house is fine. We'll talk through lawyers." Lena, "I'm not leaving town until we settle this." Me, "Then you're going to be here a while." Lena, "You can't do this forever. Eventually you'll have to face me." Me, "Oh, I'm planning on it. Just not yet." Lena, "You're enjoying this." I stared at that message for a long time. Was I enjoying it? The fear in her voice when she'd seen me at the restaurant, the panic when her coworkers saw those slides, the way she'd lost control and slapped me. Yeah, maybe I was. Me, "You made me the villain in your story. I'm just playing the part." She didn't respond. I opened my laptop and started planning Phase 3. MedTech Solutions was having their recovery dinner. After the disaster of the quarterly meeting, the company was trying to move forward in a spirit of professionalism and healing. Their words, not mine. Maya had posted about it on social media. So grateful for this company giving us space to process and grow. Looking forward to tonight's team celebration. They were holding it at the downtown Marriott. Big ballroom, open bar, the works. And Lena would be there. She had to be. Missing it would confirm all the whispers about her. I called Colin. You still want to watch her world burn? What do you have in mind? I told him. Thursday night. I arrived at the Marriott at 6 p.m., dressed in black slacks and a button-down, carrying an equipment case. Told the event coordinator I was with the AV vendor, here to do a final sound check before the dinner started. Oh, I thought Brandon was handling that. She checked her clipboard. Brandon got stuck on another job. I'm his backup. I showed her a fake business card Greg had made. Just need 20 minutes to test the mics and projector. She nodded and went back to coordinating centerpieces. I set up in the AV booth, tested everything. Then I loaded the files Colin had given me onto the system. Voice recordings, video clips, screenshots. The whole ugly truth, queued up and ready. At 7 p.m., people started arriving. Lena came at 7:30, wearing a conservative navy dress, playing the victim. Her hair was pulled back, minimal makeup, the whole look screaming, I've been through so much. Maya was with her, arm around her shoulders. Protective, united against the big bad husband. Colin arrived at 8 p.m. He'd texted me from the parking lot, I'm here, where do you need me? Just watch. And when it starts, record everything. The lights dimmed at 8:30. The CEO took the stage, gave a speech about resilience and professionalism, about moving past conflicts, about being a family. Then he introduced Lena. Someone who's shown tremendous courage in difficult circumstances. Let's hear from Lena Mercer. The room applauded. Lena stood, smiled bravely, walked to the stage. That's when I hit play. The screen behind her lit up. Her voice filled the room. Dan's so pathetic. He actually thinks we're trying to work it out. Meanwhile, I'm taking half his 401k and his house equity. Dumbest man alive. Lena froze, stared at the screen in horror. Next clip, her and Colin in his car again. The whole abuse story is perfect. Nobody questions a victim, and Dan's too nice to fight back. He'll just roll over and take it. Gasps throughout the room. Next clip, audio of her telling Maya, I'm going to make him look unstable. A few complaints to his boss, some worried calls to his friends. Everyone will believe me because I'm the woman, and he's just some angry tech guy who can't handle rejection. Maya's face went white. The CEO was shouting for someone to shut it off, but I'd locked the system. Nobody could stop it. Final clip, the podcast pitch deck showing her whole plan, the book deal projections, the speaking tour schedule, the line that said, monetize trauma narrative, potential 200K first year. Lena ran off the stage. The room exploded in chaos. I packed up my equipment and walked out through the service entrance. Nobody stopped me. They were all too busy processing what they'd seen. Outside, Colin was waiting by his car, phone out, recording everything through the window. She just attacked someone, he said. Tried to grab a phone. Security's coming. Perfect. We watched as security guards entered the building. 5 minutes later, they escorted Lena out. She was screaming, crying, completely unhinged. Maya tried to follow, but another coworker stopped her. Angry voices, accusations. It was beautiful. My phone buzzed. Greg, please tell me you're already gone. Me. Just leaving now. Greg. Good, because half the people in that room are Googling your name. I got in my car and drove to the bar where Greg was waiting. We sat in silence for a while, drinking beer, watching the news alerts pop up on our phones. She's done, Greg finally said. That company's going to fire her. Probably. Her reputation's destroyed. Yeah. Colin's going to walk away. Already has. So you won. I took a long drink. Then why doesn't it feel like winning? Greg looked at me. Because revenge isn't about feeling good. It's about making sure the other person feels worse. philosophical. I had time to think between prison and now. He ordered another round. So what happens next? I don't know. I hadn't planned past this. Maybe that's the problem. My phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. Dan Mercer? A woman's voice. Yeah. This is Detective Sarah Chen with County Police. We need to talk about an incident at the Marriott Hotel tonight. My stomach dropped. What about it? Multiple witnesses say you were responsible for a video presentation that caused a significant disturbance. Some are calling it harassment. We'd like you to come in for questioning. Am I being charged with something? Not yet. But we need to hear your side. I'll have my lawyer call you tomorrow. Mr. Mercer. I hung up. Cops? Greg asked. Yep. What did I tell you about staying legal? I didn't break any laws. I showed videos that Colin recorded in a public venue during an event where they were literally asking Lena to speak about professionalism. Doesn't matter if it feels like harassment to them. Let them try to prove it. But my hands were shaking. This wasn't over, not by a long shot. The lawyer meeting happened Friday morning. Jennifer sat across from me, reading through police statements. They're not charging you, she said. But they've opened an investigation. Lena's claiming you've been stalking her, that the video showed private conversations recorded without consent. Colin recorded them, in his own car. That's legal. Did you have permission to use them? He gave me the files. In writing. Silence. That's what I thought. She closed the folder. Dan, I know what she did to you. I know she's been manipulating everyone. But you're giving her ammunition. This stunt at the Marriott, it looks obsessive, unstable, exactly what she's been saying about you. So what do I do? Back off. Let the divorce proceed. Take the high road. The high road? She tried to destroy my career, my reputation, my entire life. She was going to build a brand off calling me an abuser. And I'm supposed to just let it go? You're supposed to be smarter than this. You're an IT guy. You plan things out. But this? She gestured at the folder. This is emotional, and emotional gets you arrested. I left without another word. Outside, Colin was waiting. I heard about the cops. News travels fast. Lena's telling everyone you're dangerous, that you've been threatening her. She showed up at Maya's place last night with a fake bruise, saying you grabbed her. I haven't seen her since she slapped me. I know. But that doesn't matter. She's getting ahead of the story again. Then we need to finish this. How? I thought about it. Everything I'd done had been public, reactive, explosive. Maybe that was the problem. Maybe I needed something quieter, more personal. Where is she staying? Maya's apartment, I think. You know how to find it? Yeah. Why? Because I want to talk to her. One last time. No witnesses, no recordings, just the truth. Colin studied me. That's a bad idea. Probably, but I'm doing it anyway. Saturday night, 11 p.m. Maya's apartment was in one of those modern complexes, all glass and steel, fake plants in the lobby. Colin had texted me the unit number. I sat in my car for an hour, watching. Finally, Maya left, overnight bag in hand. Weekend trip somewhere. Lena was alone. I went up, knocked on the door. Lena opened it, froze when she saw me. We need to talk, I said. Get away from me or I'm calling the cops. Go ahead, call them, but you're going to hear what I have to say first. She tried to close the door. I stopped it with my foot. Not forcing, just preventing. 5 minutes, Lena. That's all I want. 5 minutes of truth. She hesitated, then stepped back. Say what you came to say. I walked in. The apartment was small, generic. Lena sat on the couch, arms crossed, defensive. Why? I asked. Why what? Why me? If you were so unhappy, why not just divorce me? Why the affair, the lies, the whole campaign to destroy me? Because you would have fought it. You would have made it ugly. So, you made it ugly first. I made it strategic. You made me into a monster. You were already a monster, Dan. Cold, distant, emotionally unavailable. I just gave that monster a name. I laughed. It sounded broken. I worked 60 hours a week to pay for your life. I supported your career. I never questioned where you were or who you were with because I trusted you. And that made me a monster? You made me feel invisible. No. You felt invisible because you weren't the center of attention anymore. You needed constant validation, constant excitement, and when I couldn't provide that, you found someone who would. But that's not abuse, Lena. That's you being selfish. Get out. Not yet. I pulled out my phone. I have something to show you. More videos, more recordings. I'm done being your victim. This isn't about victimhood. This is about consequences. I pulled up a document. This is a draft complaint I'm filing with your company's ethics board. Every expense report you fudged, every client dinner you billed while actually meeting Colin, every falsified time card. I've been tracking it all for months. Her face went pale. You can't. I can. And I will. Unless you sign a settlement agreement, a fair one, 50-50 split, no spousal support, no claims of abuse or manipulation. You walk away clean, and so do I. This is blackmail. No, this is negotiation. You tried to take everything. I'm offering you half. Take the deal, Lena. She stared at me, and for the first time, I saw something new in her expression. Respect. Or maybe fear. Hard to tell the difference. I'll think about it, she finally said. You have until Monday. After that, I file everything. With your company, with the police, with everyone who'll listen. Your choice. I left. Got in my car. Drove home. My phone buzzed halfway there. Lena. You really hate me, don't you? I stared at the message for a while. Did I hate her? Or did I just hate what she'd turned me into? Me. I hate what you made me become. Lena. I didn't make you anything. You chose this. Me. No, you chose it when you decided lying was easier than honesty. Everything after that was just fallout. Lena. I'll sign your settlement, but you need to stop. Whatever you're planning next, don't. Me. Nothing left to plan. This is over. Lena. Is it? Good question. Monday afternoon, we met at the lawyer's office. Lena looked exhausted. Dark circles, no makeup, hair pulled back. She signed the settlement without reading it. That's it? She asked Jennifer. That's it. The divorce will be final in 60 days. Lena looked at me. I'm sorry, for what it's worth. It's worth nothing. I know. She stood up. But I'm still saying it. She left. Jennifer gathered the papers. You got what you wanted, she said. Did I? Fair settlement, no support payments, a clean exit. That's better than 90% of divorces. Yeah, it is. But it didn't feel like winning. It felt like surviving. I drove home. The house was empty. Too empty. Everything reminded me of her. The couch we'd picked out together, the kitchen table where we'd eaten breakfast, the bedroom where we'd slept side by side for 7 years. I couldn't stay there. I called Greg. I need to get out of town for a while. Good idea. Where? I don't know. Somewhere different. Somewhere she never was. Give it time, Danny. It'll get easier. Will it? He paused. Honestly? I don't know. But staying there won't help. I packed a bag that night, booked a cabin upstate, planned to leave in the morning. But at 2 a.m., my phone rang. Colin. She's gone, he said. What? Lena. She left town, packed her car and drove off, left a note for Maya saying she needed to start over somewhere no one knew her story. Where'd she go? I don't know, but she's gone. I sat in the dark, processing. She'd run, disappeared rather than face the aftermath. Part of me felt cheated. I'd wanted to watch her rebuild from nothing, wanted to see her face the consequences day after day. But another part felt relief. She was gone. The constant tension, the waiting for the next move, the fear, all gone with her. You okay? Colin asked. Yeah, I think I am. What are you going to do now? I don't know. Live my life, I guess. Figure out who I am without all this anger. Let me know if you figure it out. I'm trying to do the same. Deal. We hung up. I looked around the house one more time. Then I grabbed my keys and walked out. Didn't lock the door, didn't look back. The highway was empty at that hour, just me and the road and the silence. I drove north, watching the suburbs fade into darkness, the city lights shrinking in my rearview mirror. My phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. I know what you did, and I know what she did. You're both poisonous. You deserve each other. Maya. Had to be. I deleted it without responding. Another buzz. Greg. Heard she left. How you feeling? Me. Like I climbed a mountain and found nothing at the top. Greg. That's called perspective. Hold on to it. Me. I'll try. I drove for another hour before pulling into a rest stop. Sat in the parking lot, engine running, heat blasting. The dashboard clock read 3:47 a.m. I pulled out my phone and opened the photo app. Scrolled through years of pictures. Lena and me at our wedding, on vacation in Maine, building a fence in the backyard. Normal stuff. Happy stuff. When had it stopped being real? When had the performance begun? Or had it always been a performance, and I'd just been too distracted to notice? I deleted the whole album, every photo, every memory. Then I emptied the trash. My phone felt lighter without them. I kept driving. 3 months later, I was living in Vermont. Small town, quiet streets, nobody knew my story. I'd taken a remote IT job, found a cabin to rent, bought a dog from the shelter. Her name was Lucy. She didn't judge. Life was fine. Not happy. Not miserable. Just fine. I'd heard through Greg that Lena had landed in Charlotte, got a job at a smaller medical company, changed her last name back to her maiden name. Started fresh. Colin had moved too, Dallas apparently. His social media went dark after the Marriott incident. Smart. Maya got fired. Turns out she'd been covering for Lena's expense fraud too. The company investigated everyone after my complaint. Collateral damage. Sometimes I felt bad about that. Most times I didn't. I was at the grocery store on a Tuesday afternoon when my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Dan Mercer? Yeah. This is Tara Wilkins. I was consulting with Lena on a project before everything. The podcast consultant. What do you want? I wanted to apologize. I didn't know the full story. I just knew what Lena told me, that she was escaping an abusive marriage. The whole abuse narrative was her idea. I should have verified it. You should have. I'm calling because I'm writing a book about manipulation in relationships, digital revenge, the gray areas of modern conflict. I'd like to interview you for it. I laughed. You want to profit off this now too? I want to tell the truth. Both sides. What happened, how it escalated, what people can learn from it. And make money doing it. I'm not going to lie, yes, but I think your story matters. Both your stories. Tell you what, Tara. Write your book. Leave my name out of it. Make Lena the protagonist if you want. But I'm done. I'm not participating in any more narratives. Are you sure? This could be your chance to set the record straight. The record doesn't matter. Not anymore. What happened happened. Telling it again won't change anything. Can I quote you on that? Do whatever you want. Just don't use my name. I hung up. Lucy looked up at me from the passenger seat, tail wagging. Come on, I said. Let's go home. Then that night, I got an email. From Lena. Subject, closure. Dan, I heard you moved. I'm glad. I hope you're doing better. I've spent the last 3 months in therapy trying to understand why I did what I did. My therapist says I have attachment issues, that I was chasing validation I never got from my father, that I projected my insecurities onto you. I don't know if that's true, but I know I hurt you, and I know sorry isn't enough. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm just asking you to let go of whatever anger is left. Not for me, for you. Because carrying it around will poison everything you touch. I'm trying to build a different life. I hope you are too. Lol. I read it 3 times. Looked for the manipulation, the hidden agenda, the trap. But maybe there wasn't one. Maybe she was just tired too. I typed a response. Lena, I'm not angry anymore. I don't think about you most days. When I do, it's more confusion than rage. I don't understand how we got here, how 2 people who stood at an altar and promised forever ended up destroying each other. But I'm done trying to understand it. Some things don't make sense, and forcing them to is just another form of torture. You asked me to let go. I did. 3 months ago, when I left, I let go of you, the marriage, the anger, all of it. I don't need your permission or your blessing. I hope therapy helps you. I hope you figure out whatever you're looking for. But I won't be part of that process. Don't contact me again. I hit send. Then I blocked her email. Lucy curled up next to me on the couch. Outside, snow was starting to fall, the first snow of the season. Everything looked clean and new. I pulled out my laptop and opened a blank document. Started typing. Not about Lena, not about the divorce or the revenge or any of it. Just thoughts, observations, things I'd learned about myself in the aftermath. Like how easy it was to become the thing you hate, how thin the line is between victim and villain, how the people we love most can also hurt us worst, and how we can hurt them right back. I wrote until my hands ached, until the thoughts stopped coming, until the blank document was filled with something that felt honest. Then I saved it, titled it, Notes from the Other Side, and closed the laptop. Maybe someday I'd do something with it. Maybe not. For now, it was enough to have written it down, to have acknowledged what happened and moved on. The snow kept falling outside. Lucy snored softly beside me. The cabin was warm and quiet, and mine. I made coffee, watched the snow pile up on the deck railing, thought about calling Greg, decided against it. This moment didn't need witnesses. It was just for me. My phone buzzed one last time. Greg, like he'd read my mind. You good? Me. Yeah, I'm good. Greg. Proud of you, little brother. Me. For what? Greg. For stopping, for knowing when enough was enough. I looked at that message for a long time. Maybe he was right. Maybe the real victory wasn't destroying Lena. It was knowing when to stop destroying myself. I put the phone down, scratched Lucy behind the ears, stared out at the snow. Tomorrow I'd wake up and go to work, walk the dog, cook dinner, live an ordinary life in an ordinary place. It wouldn't be exciting. It wouldn't be dramatic. There'd be no audience, no vindication, no perfect ending. But it would be mine. And after everything, that was enough. I finished my coffee, went to bed. Lucy jumped up beside me, circled 3 times, settled in. Outside, the snow turned the world white, buried the old roads, covered the old tracks, made everything new again. I closed my eyes and slept without dreams. When I woke up, it was snowing harder. The cabin was buried in white, no way to leave, nowhere to go. I lit a fire, made breakfast, read a book I'd been meaning to start for years. Around noon, my phone showed a news alert. Medical sales rep speaks out about digital harassment campaign. I clicked it. There was Lena, giving an interview, talking about how her ex-husband had destroyed her career with revenge porn of her private conversations, how she'd been forced to start over in a new city, how she was now advocating for laws against digital harassment. I closed the article, wasn't even angry. She'd found a new narrative. Good for her. I had my own now. It was quieter, less dramatic, harder to monetize, but it was true, and truth, I'd learned, was the only thing that lasted. 2 years passed. I stayed in Vermont, got promoted at work, bought the cabin I'd been renting, started dating someone, a teacher named Sarah who didn't ask about my past and didn't Google my name. It was easy, comfortable, safe. Lena's book came out. Surviving Digital Abuse, One Woman's Story. I didn't read it. Didn't need to. Colin apparently moved back to his hometown, got engaged to his high school sweetheart. Greg sent me a screenshot of the Facebook announcement. Some people never learn, he added. Maybe. But maybe Colin had learned the same lesson I had. That starting over meant letting go of who you were in that moment. Even if that person was right. Even if that person was justified. The wedding invitation arrived in May. Not Colin's, Sarah's friends. We were sitting on the deck when she showed me, laughing about the elaborate calligraphy. "You okay with weddings?" she asked. "I know some people find them hard." "I'm fine. You were married before, right?" "Yeah, long time ago." "Want to talk about it?" "Not really." She nodded, didn't push. That's what I liked about her. She understood that some doors stayed closed for a reason. We went to the wedding. It was beautiful. The bride cried, the groom cried, everyone drank too much and danced badly. Normal. Happy. Real. On the drive home, Sarah fell asleep in the passenger seat. I drove slowly, taking the long way, not ready for the night to end. My phone buzzed at a red light. Email from an address I didn't recognize. Subject. Chapter. Closed. Dan, I know I said I wouldn't contact you. I'm breaking that promise one last time. I got married yesterday, to someone who knows my whole story and chose me anyway. We're moving to Oregon. Fresh start. Real one this time. I'm not asking you to be happy for me. I'm just letting you know that I finally understand what you meant. About letting go. About starting over. About knowing when enough is enough. Thank you for teaching me that, even if you didn't mean to. This is goodbye. For real this time. Lena. I deleted it without responding. Sarah woke up as we pulled into the driveway. "We home?" "Yeah, we're home." "You okay? You look weird." "Just tired." "Liar. What's wrong?" I thought about telling her, about showing her the email, explaining the whole story, making her understand the weight I'd been carrying. But then I looked at her, sleepy and smiling and trusting, and realized I didn't want her to carry it too. "Nothing's wrong," I said. "Everything's actually pretty good." And for the first time in 3 years, I meant it. We went inside. She made tea. I fed Lucy. We sat on the couch and watched bad TV until we fell asleep tangled together. When I woke up at 3 a.m., the house was dark and quiet. Sarah was snoring softly. Lucy was curled up at our feet. I thought about Lena getting married, starting over, building a new story. I thought about Colin and his high school sweetheart, second chances, clean slates. I thought about Maya, whose name I'd seen on a LinkedIn update, back in medical sales, different company, different city, everyone moving on. And I thought about me, about revenge and rage and the person I'd become for those few months when my world fell apart. That person was gone now, or maybe just sleeping, waiting to see if he'd ever be needed again. I hoped not. I got up, careful not to wake Sarah, went to the window. Outside, the stars were bright and cold. No snow, no storm, just a clear night in May. I pulled out my phone and opened the Notes app, found the document I'd started years ago, Notes from the Other Side, added one final line. The opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. And after everything, I finally got there. She's someone I used to know. The rest is just noise. I saved it, closed the app, put the phone away. Lucy jumped off the couch and padded over to me. I scratched her ears. "Come on, girl. Let's go back to bed." She wagged her tail and followed me. I climbed back into bed next to Sarah. She mumbled something, wrapped an arm around me, settled back into sleep. And for the first time in years, I slept through the night without waking once. The next morning was Saturday. Sarah made pancakes. We ate on the deck in the sunshine. Lucy chased squirrels in the yard. Want to do something today? Sarah asked. Like what? I don't know. Hike? Drive somewhere? Or we could just stay here and be boring. Boring sounds good, she smiled. You're easy to please. I've learned to appreciate boring. Is that a divorce thing? Maybe. I took a sip of coffee. Or maybe it's just getting older, realizing that drama and excitement are overrated. Is that your way of saying I'm boring? You're the opposite of boring. You're just calm, steady. No hidden agendas or secret plans. You just are. That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me. We spent the day doing nothing. Read books, took a walk, made dinner together. At night, we watched a movie neither of us paid attention to. Before bed, Sarah said, I love you. It was the first time she'd said it. I looked at her, surprised. You don't have to say it back, she added quickly. I just wanted you to know. I love you too, I said, and I meant it. She smiled and kissed me, and we fell asleep like that, tangled together in the dark, no fear, no anger, no past, just us. And in the morning when I woke up, my first thought wasn't about Lena or the divorce or any of it. My first thought was about coffee and whether we had eggs left for breakfast. It was such a normal thought, such a boring, mundane, beautiful thought. I lay there for a while, savoring it, the ordinariness, the peace. Then I got up and started the day. 5 years after that Tuesday night at Russo's Bistro, I ran into Maya at an airport. I was flying to Seattle for work. She was coming from Charlotte. We ended up at the same gate, sitting 3 seats apart. She recognized me first. Dan? I looked up. Took me a second to place her. Maya. Awkward silence. How are you? She finally asked. Good. You? Better. Working for a pharmaceutical company now. Better hours, better pay, learning to mind my own business. She smiled weakly. How's everything? Fine. Living in Vermont. Engaged, actually. That's great. I'm happy for you. Thanks. More silence. Look, Dan, I know I should have said this years ago, but I'm sorry for covering for her, for lying to you, for being part of the whole mess. It's fine. No, it's not. I was a coward. I knew what she was doing, and I helped anyway because it was easier than being honest. People make choices, I said. You made yours. I made mine. It doesn't matter anymore. Do you ever think about it? About what happened? Sometimes, but not as much as I used to. Do you hate her? I thought about it. No, I don't think about her enough to hate her. Maya nodded. She moved to Oregon, got married, had a kid. I saw it on Facebook. Good for her. You really mean that? Yeah, I do. And I did. Our flight boarded. We sat in different sections. I never saw her again. On the plane, I texted Sarah, "Love you. See you Monday." She sent back a heart emoji. I put my phone on airplane mode, closed my eyes, thought about nothing in particular. When the plane landed, I checked my messages. Nothing urgent, no drama, no surprises, just life, continuing forward, one ordinary day at a time. And that was enough. More than enough. It was everything. 10 years later, Sarah and I were married with 2 kids, living in the same cabin, now renovated and expanded. Lucy had passed years ago. We had a new dog named Max. My life was unremarkable, peaceful, full of small moments that mattered more than big ones ever had. I hadn't thought about Lena in years. She was a character in a story I used to tell myself. But the story was over now. The book was closed. One Sunday morning, I was making breakfast when my oldest daughter asked, "Dad, were you married before Mom?" I flipped a pancake. Yeah, long time ago. What happened? We grew apart, got divorced. Was it sad? At the time, yes. But it worked out okay. If I'd stayed married to her, I wouldn't have met your mom, and you wouldn't exist. She thought about that. So, it was a good thing? In the end, yeah, it was. Do you ever see her? No. She lives far away. Do you miss her? No, sweetie, I don't. And that was the truth. Not said with anger or bitterness or satisfaction. Just the truth. She nodded and went back to her cereal. That night, after the kids were asleep, Sarah and I sat on the deck watching stars. You okay? She asked. You've been quiet. Just thinking about how different my life could have been. Better or worse? Different. Not better or worse. Just different. Regrets? No. I made choices. Some good, some bad. But they led here. And here is pretty good. She smiled. Pretty good? Okay, more than pretty good. That's better. We sat in comfortable silence. The stars turned overhead. The world kept spinning. And I realized something. Revenge hadn't made me happy. Destroying Lena hadn't fixed what was broken inside me. Walking away had. Not dramatic, not cinematic, not even satisfying at the time, just necessary. And years later, here I was. Happy, whole, at peace. The opposite of revenge wasn't forgiveness. It was indifference. It was building a life so full that the past couldn't touch it. I'd done that. Somehow, despite everything, I'd done that. What are you thinking? Sarah asked. That I'm glad I'm here, with you, right now. Me too. We went inside, checked on the kids, got ready for bed. Before turning off the light, I looked at Sarah and said, Thank you. For what? For not asking about my past, for letting me be who I am now instead of who I was then. Everyone deserves a second act, Dan. You just had to write yours. I think I finally did. Good, she said, and turned off the light. In the darkness, I closed my eyes and felt something I hadn't felt in years. Complete. Like all the broken pieces had finally fused back together. Not perfectly. Not without scars. But whole enough to move forward. Whole enough to be happy. And in the morning, when I woke up, I didn't think about Lena or Colin or Maya or any of it. I thought about coffee and whether the kids needed lunch money and what to make for dinner. Ordinary thoughts. Beautiful thoughts. The rest was just noise from a life I used to live. And I didn't miss it at all.